I want to make a video on how to build a career from social media. And so I'm just going to get right into it in this video because I know there's a lot of people who are going to be coming from um, that clock app, and want to get into, longer form content. And I just wanted to give the insights and things that I've done. If you want to know who I am, I'm a person who was a natural hair vlogger, and I started to do mental health advocacy on social media, and I really wanted to do mental health advocacy full time. And so now I do mental health advocacy full time for a living with a salary, benefits, and pension attached to it outside of the stuff that I already do normally. And so, but I kind of didn't like how a lot of people are like, oh, you're not going to exist once this clock app goes away. And, really, instead of helping people transition into those other spaces, it's sort of like, it irks me when people do that. Kind of sort of like, oh, I have this particular set of skills and you don't. So I don't like when people do that. So I'm just going to tell you some of the things that I started with. So we're going to talk about 5 things in this video. Okay. 5. The first one, I need you to take inventory of what you have right now. When you start this stuff, you want to do all the things all the time, and you want to just hop right in there. People telling you, just hop right in there, just get started. You really need to pull yourself back and take inventory of what you have right now. And when I mean take inventory, I'm talking about the things that you own that can help and benefit you, as well as yourself. Inventory of yourself. You need to know how much time you actually have to do this. You need to look at your current skills that you actually have to see if there's anything you need to develop on. And you need to think about what you want to invest in yourself as far as growing and learning things. Okay. So those are all key things. You need to take inventory on what you have and who you are right now. Number 2, do not start spending unnecessary money. A lot of people, they're like, okay, start this content creation. Oh, start this social media. I need to go buy this camera. I need to go buy this microphone. No, you don't. A lot of the times, your cell phone has a better camera and your mic from your cell phone is okay. I literally have a podcast that I record on my phone, and I just detach the audio from the video. So you don't always need all the things. If you're like, oh, I need lighting. So when we're looking at things, for example, like lighting, look and see if there's a spot in your house to where, as far as lighting, natural lighting is a great fit. Like if you know that you look good at a certain, at a certain time of day and you have time to film, then you don't automatically need to go out and buy lighting. Use the natural lighting in your house. Use the natural lighting in your house. A lot of people have studios. I used to have one. I don't have one anymore. A lot of people used to have studios. Sometimes you just need a nice little corner or a nice little spot where you would do your video. And that's where you will film. You may not have that beauty room yet. You may not have that office yet, but maybe you have a nice corner that you have just developed yourself. You went and got some pictures from Dollar Tree. But don't overload yourself in the very beginning in trying to make something seem perfect or you're spending a lot of money. You want to keep it clean and nice to your eye first, right? So that's keep it clean, nice to the eye. You don't need all the things. Again, if you're like a podcaster and you see people with mics, yes, podcast mics are inexpensive, but do you really need to spend that money right now? Use your cell phone, detach the audio from the video and use that, okay? Don't start spending unnecessary money. This also means for courses. Stop buying courses. No. There are very few courses out there that I think that people have created that I actually think are worth the money. And I'll give you an example of one that I do, that I would support. But when you start doing these things, and you're building your skills, you don't need to pay someone money to do it. Why? Because YouTube exists. YouTube exists. Find a YouTuber that you like and that you can relate to and learn from them. If it's someone that gives you a 60-second video and then they say, buy my course, go to somebody else. Someone has a full video out there that will help walk you through certain things concerning your industry, and you will not have to pay for a course to do that. Another thing you want to think about, especially when you're not spending unnecessary money, this is where you want to start to think about, where do I actually want to spend money? So this is when you want to think about your editing programs, and anything that you might want to do design for. So what I use, when I first started, I was just using what Microsoft had available, and then I moved from there and I went to Power Director. Power Director was a little bit too much for me, so I ended up with Filmora, and I've been using Filmora for years. Because of what I do now, I don't have to do like this heavy editing stuff, but I use Filmora. For graphic stuff, I'll use Canva, and I've used Canva for years, so that's how I create graphics for social media stuff. And then the next thing that I use for on my phone, I use InShot. I know some people use CapCut, but I like to keep things simple at this time in my life. And so InShot, I've been using InShot for years. And so those are the things you want to think about. Where do I actually want to spend money? And it's usually those foundational things. It's not always the equipment. If you're thinking, let me spend money on equipment first, then you're putting the cart before the horse. I need you to, if you're going to spend money, you need to spend money on the actual programs that you're going to be using for editing and that you're going to be using for design. Now, are there other ones out there? Yes, but these are the ones that I've used and I will continue to use unless they do something wild. Another thing when you're using your programs, y'all, you need to practice your editing. You need to practice editing before you start really pushing out content. It will help keep down your frustrations. Shoot a 5-minute video. Just go around, shoot a 5-minute video, and then go into your program and practice editing. See if you like transitions. See if you like music. These are things you want to practice on. And you will find that editing isn't going to stress you out as much. And I'll do a whole nother video on editing stuff. But you also want to look at, how long do I want my videos to be? Some people have successful channels, they can do 30-minute long videos. Some people, they can only do 15. Some people, it can only be 8 or under 5. And so you have to see, like, okay, how much content or how long do I want my stuff to be? Think about that. Because that's going to determine how much you're filming and how you film. And that's another thing. We have to learn how to film. You have to learn how to film, and what feels comfortable for you. Number 4, use your analytics. Almost every platform has your analytics. You may want to do stuff, but the audience who watches you does not want to see that. Okay? So you have to find that balance between understanding your target audience and what you want to do. Okay? So you're gonna have a YouTube channel. You should also have YouTube Studio on your phone. If you should also have Meta Business on your phone. You should also be looking at your insights from any other social media platform that you on. You need to understand and learn your audience. That is so, so key. So do you need to focus on how many people are liking and commenting and subscribing and stuff like that? Is that important? Yes. But you need to learn how to read your analytics, okay? And you need to know that these algorithms are going to algorithm, okay? The algorithms are going to algorithm, which means sometimes they're going to like what you put out there and sometimes they don't. That's why you have to know what your goal is. When you look at your analytics, you will understand why your friends and your family are not your target audience. Your analytics will tell you your friends and family aren't your target audience. And so you need to learn about your audience, what they like and what they don't like. Now, the final thing, which should have been the number one thing, but what is your goal in all this? If you want to be a popular YouTuber, then there's certain things that you're going to have to do, right? But for me, my goal, using myself as an example, are numbers important to me? And the reason why I'm like, is because when I make certain content, when I make certain videos, those are like my business cards. Those are like my audition cards. Why? Because I'm a public speaker. I'm a public speaker, which means people look at my videos and can determine whether or not they want to invite me to their panel discussion. They want to invite me to their event. And so although I like, oh yeah, I'm happy this piece of content may have done some good numbers. However, my ultimate goal is for it to be out there so that someone would recognize my name and someone would recognize the type of work that I do. I have been very, very blessed because I get to do things a lot of people don't get to do, which is I get to have a lot of flexibility with my personality and what I do and what I say. Because that's just a hard line for me. Like if I have to stop being myself to do this, I'd rather let go of opportunities and separate myself completely from groups of people than not be myself. And that is something that I am always willing to do. And I say that up front. Some people don't want to do that, and that's fine. But you have to define what are your non-negotiables in this and what are the things that you're willing to be flexible on. And it's always going to go back to what is my goal. You know, my goal when I switched my channel over, particularly, was to become a mental health advocate. I wanted to do it full time. I in my self inventory, I already had a degree. I already had lived experience. There was other things that I needed to do. And I've been able to do that. And so one of the things I always like to tell people when you're doing this, and when you're starting to do this, I want you to act like you have nobody else to help you and you have absolutely no money. Regardless of how successful it is, act like you're by yourself and you have no money. And when you think about that as a starting point on a project, you'll be amazed at how creative you become. Even if you have all the money and the connections, act like it's just you. It don't happen unless you happen. And then once you see the beginning of that, of whatever it is that you're trying to create, then you can begin to expound out. But we'll go into that another time. I'm going to put this on the podcast too. But I wanted to give y'all that information. So, you know, so those are just some starting points. Are they perfect starting points? No. But this is where you can get started. And this is what has helped me over the years to be successful in something that started out on social media for me. So I will talk to y'all later, and I hope y'all have a good evening. Bye.